Welcome. It's Friday night. How exciting. And we have the good news for you. As always, I'm Barbara Jean, your host, and I am delighted to share with you some very interesting stories this evening. The first one, fascinating, comes from a message in a bottle. World War I message in a bottle found in Australia and delivered to families more than a century later. How cool is that? So, Australian soldiers slipped the letters into a bottle, closed the cap, and pitched it overboard from a ship in the Pacific Ocean as World War I battlefields beckoned them both. The bottle was a time capsule that would be delivered by fate, and it arrived for overjoyed ancestors last month, more than 100 years after the bottle first hit the water. On October 9th, Peter Brown and his daughter Felicity found the Schweppes brand bottle resting just above the waterline at Wharton Beach on the south coast of Western Australia. The Brown family frequently walks the beach and helps to clear garbage, but this piece was much more treasure than trash. Nestled inside the bottle were letters written by two Army privates, Malcolm Neville and William Harley, originally dated August 15, 1916. Back then, Neville was 27 and Harley was 37. They were on board the ship HMAT A-70 Ballarat and were leaving Adelaide on a mission to reinforce Australia's 48th Infantry Battalion in World War I. As the ship rocked back and forth on familiar waters, the soldiers wrote down messages that were soon swallowed up by the sea. Surprisingly, their words were still legible when the letters reemerged weeks ago. Neville's letter from somewhere at sea requested that the finder send its contents to his mother in South Australia. We're having a real good time. Food is real good so far, with the exception of one meal which we buried at sea. The ship is heaving and rolling, but we are as happy as Larry, which is a well known Australian expression of contentment. Meanwhile, Harley wrote, May the finder be as well as we are at present. Although neither man lived long, Neville died in a battle a year later, and Harley passed away in 1934 with a cancer that his family blamed on gases used in war. Their letters arrived in excellent shape, as if destined to provide a clear portal to the past. The bottle was in pristine condition without a single barnacle, and if it had been exposed for that long, the paper would have disintegrated from the sun, who thinks the bottle got buried in a sand dune soon after it was tossed overboard until it broke free and gave unsuspecting family members a new connection to their ancestors. How cool is that? Wow. It took a minute, and we worry about our postal service. All right. So, a pet company is granting your wishes, starting with a leash for ALS patient to walk her dog from a wheelchair. Brooke Ebby used to take her adopted dog, Dre, on long walks and hikes in San Francisco until she was waylaid by a diagnosis of ALS that landed her in a wheelchair. She tried adaptive leashes, but they often left the little pooch tangled in the wheels because they aren't designed for Dre's small size. Then she heard about a pet company making holiday wishes come true. So she wrote a letter in Dre's voice to Chewy Claus, begging for a solution so he can once again take a nice walk with his mama. Dre's was the first doggy wish to be granted, kicking off Chewy's annual letter writing campaign in Potomac, Maryland, where Brooke and her senior rescue dog received a huge basket of gifts, along with the custom wheelchair accessory that is providing a new leash on life. Now Brooke can resume one of her favorite activities, taking a walk with her best friend and bask in the sense of independence it brings. Dre has seen me be less and less active, and this leash is just showing him that I'm still there, still the same leash holder I've always been. This is one less time I have to ask someone to help me do something I used to do by myself multiple times a day in my normal life. And I think we have a video. Do we not?
Dear Chewy Claus, my mom adopted me from a shelter in San Francisco. Our favorite thing was walking all over the city together. Then my mom was diagnosed with ALS. This meant she couldn't take me on our long walks anymore. One of our favorite things to do together that we both took for granted. So I would love to ask Chewy Claus for the chance for us to go on a walk again without the leash getting stuck in her wheelchair. Love, Dre.
Hands-free control is really important for people that have disabilities because it gives them a sense of independence. So we made what I call a fastener-free collar. So all you have to do is clip this onto the chair, slip this over his head, and off she goes. Let's give it a try.
Dre, you wanna go for a walk?
How great is that? Ah, makes me all teary. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow, that is a beautiful story. And more and more we're seeing how people innovate in order to assist. And I just love that. Well, we're going to take a short little commercial break. You're watching the New Thought Media Network and the good news here this Friday evening, November the 14th. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And now more good news. So a daycare rewilded its yard and the children became healthier. Now the whole nation is doing it. Finland is doubling down on evidence from 4 years ago that definitively shows how children can avoid diseases and allergies throughout their lives if they're permitted to get down and dirty in daycare. Dozens of comparative studies have previously found that children who live in rural areas are in contact with nature have a lower probability of catching an illness resulting from disorders in the immune system and a lower risk of developing various diseases, allergies, and even diabetes. A 2021 study conducted at a Finnish daycare and published in Science Advances showed that repeated contact with nature-like elements 5 times a week diversified the body's microbes, which offered protection against diseases transmitted through the immune system in daycare children. This is the first time in which these changes offering protection against diseases have been found when adding diversified aspects of nature to an urban environment. Each human activity is actually an environment in themselves, a host of trillions of microorganisms, including bacteria, viruses, and fungi. These collectively outnumber our own cells 4-1 and are emerging as one of the most influential forces, if not truly the single most, in human health and function. Luke took its findings to heart in a big way and is now launching a nationwide survey of 43 daycares compared to the previous sample of merely 75 children at daycare on how increased microbial exposure from yard landscaping changes the microbial composition of children's skin, gut, and oral microbiomes. A mixture of hair, saliva, and stool samples will be taken in addition to questionnaires about infectious diseases among the children by parents in order to robustly measure the impact of a wilder daycare on children's immune health. The Guardian recently reported on some of the fruits of this initiative, which saw £1 million in grants given out to the 43 daycare centers for the purpose of adding more garden space, planter boxes, compost heaps, and other such natural features to their properties. Sinkonen was there too, inspecting a chocolate cake baked with love of mud and sand by a 5-year-old at Hampula Daycare Center in Lahti, north of Helsinki. The daycare boasts a vegetable patch which uses the daycare's composter to provide dirt-covered, healthy veggies for the center's kitchen. It was the location of the original study from 2021 and is now the flagship daycare in the new, larger trial. The original study with Luke at Hampula identified lower levels of bacteria linked with inflammatory bowel disease in the 75 kids' gut microbiomes. The blood samples showed higher levels of circulating immune agents called T cells, while their skin carried lower densities of infectious disease-causing bacteria. If that profile can be replicated nationwide, a huge financial and health burden could be lifted from the national community. Ooh, time to get a garden going, folks. Build a garden and watch children and adults flourish. All right, so a smart keyboard for Parkinson's patients wins the 2025 James Dyson Global Award. So an innovative smart keyboard designed to significantly improve typing ability for people living with Parkinson's disease has been named a global winner of the prestigious award. The groundbreaking invention called On Cue was created by Italian product designer Alessandra Galli as a school thesis project at Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands. It's the first assistive keyboard that integrates cues to help manage motor symptoms like tremors, slow movement, and freezing. On Cue is a clever and empowering solution, allowing people with Parkinson's and other motor conditions to stay connected and communicate independently. Gail Gali developed On Cue after focus groups revealed how typing obstacles challenge the independence and confidence of Parkinson's patients. The device's core features work in concert to support a steady typing flow. Subtle vibrations are transmitted through the keys and optional matching wristbands to help guide users' typing rhythm and compensate for reduced tactile sensitivity. AI lighting system and artificial intelligence component predicts that the most likely next letter the user will press and illuminates the corresponding key with a green light. This visual cue helps to reduce hesitation and errors, a common issue with the condition. The ergonomic design inspired by gaming keyboards, On Cue has a compact, split layout to reduce strain on the hands and arms. The keycaps also feature raised edges to guide finger placement and prevent accidental presses. In addition, On Cue is designed with customization in mind, allowing users to adjust haptic and visual cue intensity through software or physical sliders, accommodating the daily functions in Parkinson's symptoms. How creative is that? Wow. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'll tell you, this world is full of really smart people. And when we look at some of the things they do, in the hopes of helping someone else. It really inspires me. Okay, so why would visiting an art gallery reduce your risk of heart disease? Hmm, not sure. A new study shows that visiting an art gallery and appreciating the works therein can reduce your risk of heart disease and even boost your immune system. So, how could that work? Well, there's some general wellness maxims that could connect the large span between these two seemingly unrelated subjects, though, and it may mean the same reduction in risk could come from all sorts of enjoyable leisure activities. Yes, leisure activities. Can't always be working. Where there's inflammation without injury, there's aging and illness. Key inflammatory protons, called cytokines, such as interleukin 6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, are basically correlated with every disease known to us. While they play a key role in stimulating wound healing, they can also become active in preparation for wounds. A stress hormone, cortisol, prepares the body for risk. A hormonal state of stress triggers an increase and other cytokines in certain circumstances. Ipso facto, reducing stress reduces inflammation. Inflammation reduces physiological degradation. Research from King's College London measured the physiological responses of participants viewing the collections of the Courtauld Gallery in the UK capital. Cardio data was provided by a continuous heart rate monitor, which also captured skin temperatures. Saliva samples were taken before and after the 20-minute viewing exercise. Compared to viewing the same paintings as replica images in a non-gallery setting, the stress hormone cortisol fell by an average of 22% and 16% more than those viewing the pictures of the paintings. The fact that viewing original art lowered these markers suggests that cultural experiences may play a real role in protecting both mind and body. And this explains why my office and my home have original art all over the place. My own little gallery. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about peanut butter. You know, the thing you're not allowed to give to your kids to take to school for lunch. The phase 3 trials show that a peanut patch treatment helps toddlers build a tolerance to this deadly allergy. Toddlers safely built a tolerance to small amounts of peanut proteins thanks to a simple skin patch, which helped prevent the progression of a potentially deadly allergy. More than 70% of these toddlers could tolerate 3 or 4 peanut kernels after a 3-year course of treatment. The findings from an FDA-registered long-term phase 3 clinical trial offer encouraging news for parents of the one child in 50 born every year with the susceptibility to peanut allergies. The studies found that a peanut patch treated with epicutaneous immunotherapy, or EPIT, continue to help toddlers safely build tolerance to peanuts over 3 years. It used the DBV technologies, the Viaskin peanut patch, which delivers small amounts of peanut protein through the skin. The goal is to train the immune system to tolerate peanut exposure and reduce the risk of severe allergic reactions from accidental ingestion. The new analysis looked at toddlers who originally received a placebo in an earlier 1-year study and then used the peanut patch for up to 3 years. After 3 years of treatment, more than 70% of the children could tolerate the equivalent of at least 3 to 4 peanut kernels, a significant improvement from their first year of treatment. Nearly half could tolerate even higher amounts. Importantly, the treatment continued to show a strong safety record. No cases of treatment-related anaphylaxis, a severe allergic reaction, were reported in the 3rd year. Skin irritation at the patch site, the most common side effect, became less frequent over time. The research team also found that children's reactions during food challenges became milder and fewer severe symptoms after 3 years than after 1 year. Wow, that could be great for a lot of people because there are many who struggle with that peanut allergy, and it is very serious. I have a sister-in-law who would die if even if you ate a peanut butter sandwich near her. Yes, it's that serious. All right, a driverless, hmm, a driverless electric bus. Hmm, okay. After 5 years of testing, an autonomous electric bus has been deployed to a park in Madrid for one final real world experiment in driverless vehicles for public transit. If it succeeds, the cute little caterpillar shaped bus may become a mainstay in the Spanish capital, ferrying passengers around Casa de Campo Park and beyond. Developed through a partnership with the Madrid Transit Authority and Automotive Technology Center of Galicia in northern Spain, the driverless bus has been in action between the 15th of September and 24th of October. It drove in a circuit around Casa de Campo, picking up passengers at 6 stops and operating for 5 of the city's peak hours. The vehicle is 100% electric, and though many of its body components were manufactured abroad, the brains, eyes, ears, and other software were made at CTAG. This bus is one of the best I have ever tested, says Fernandez, head of the EMT's rolling stock planning division. It behaves very well dynamically. Let's say that the technology is very well integrated. It doesn't behave erratically or robotically like other buses. The aim of EMT and CTAG is not replacing drivers, but providing a suitable and safe alternative for predictable, shorter routes that can help cities address a current shortage of professional bus drivers. Though fully autonomous and capable of detecting pedestrians, cyclists, skateboarders, scooters, animals, crosswalks, stop signs, traffic lights, and roundabouts, and making decisions over when to brake, accelerate, turn, and open or close the doors, a safety officer is always on board, just in case. What do you think, people? Is that cool or what? I love it. And it's kind of cool looking too. All right, a little drink of water here. So, for anyone who has little children and they have to go to the mall or run a bunch of errands, we all know this story. A stranger's note turns a mother's stressful day into one she'll never forget. A mother says a simple note from a stranger changed her world after a random act of kindness on a day when everything was going wrong. According to Wales Online, 43-year-old Amy Johnson was out shopping with her 2 young children when stress began to build. My 2 children, Sarah and Noah, were at their peak of restlessness, and I was at my wits' end. Sarah was on the verge of a meltdown, and Noah, sensing the tension, was becoming increasingly fidgety. I was preparing myself for the inevitable, a full-blown tantrum from Sarah, which of course would set off a chain reaction with Noah. It felt like a ticking time bomb ready to explode. Pardon me. A woman, probably in her 60s, approached Amy, and instead of offering judgment, she offered kindness. Kneeling down, the woman smiled at Sarah and said, "I couldn't help but notice your beautiful dress. Do you like bunnies?" Amy said her daughter's tears stopped instantly. For the next few minutes, this kind stranger engaged my children in a conversation about their favorite animals, colors, and cartoons. She had a magical presence that calmed them instantly. Before leaving, the woman handed Amy a small note. Mm, my apologies. And the note read, "You're doing great. We've all been there. Keep smiling." Amy said the rest of her day went unexpectedly smoothly. It's amazing how a simple act of kindness from a stranger can transform a challenging day into a memorable one. Oh my goodness, my apologies. All right. Here's a funny letter. I quite loved it. Chief of the police in Naudville, Louisiana, took time out of his busy day to address a very unique audience, the local criminals. Here's what his letter had to say. Letter to all local criminals. Dear lawbreakers, first off, we hope this letter finds you well, though ideally not in the middle of committing a crime. We've noticed a recent uptick in questionable decisions around town, especially regarding illegal narcotics. While we understand that everyone needs a hobby, we kindly ask you to pick a different one. You see, we at the Arnoldville Police Department work long hours making sure our community is safe. But when you keep breaking the law, you make us stay up late filling out paperwork, and nobody likes paperwork. I mean, seriously, nobody. We'd love to spend more time drinking coffee, helping citizens, and rescuing cats from trees. But instead, we're chasing you down for things like distributing methamphetamine and fighting with the police. Please stop. In the spirit of cooperation, here are a few friendly alternatives to crime. Try Netflix, where you can watch the police chase other people besides you. Start a hobby that doesn't involve handcuffs and bake cookies instead of breaking and entering. We promise if you stop breaking the law, we'll stop chasing you. It's a win win. With love, respect, and mild exasperation, your friends at the Arnoldville Police Department. Oh my goodness, that one had me laughing like, oh my goodness, so good. All right, well, then there's a polar bear eating a 1,400-pound pumpkin, and it really is a sight to behold. It's not every day that Henry the polar bear sees something that weighs more than he does. At 1,200 pounds, the polar bear is the world's largest land predator. But here was something substantially heavier, and it was just sitting there in his enclosure. Defensive at first, Henry eventually dug into the sweet, crunchy flesh of a giant 1,400-pound pumpkin that was donated to the nonprofit that looks after him. The photos will steal a chuckle out of anyone. One of my staff was driving up from down south and ended up directly behind this pumpkin as it was on the highway. Her staff member gave her a call and said the truck carrying the massive gourd had a logo on the side that said 80 Creek Gardens, Baxendale Young, and he decided to call them up. And pretty quickly, they got back to me and said, if we don't take it, it's just going in the compost. Henry actually came out and didn't know what it was and got actually quite defensive because I think he was just quite absorbed at this new thing in his enclosure. However, after he'd eaten a bunch, well, you can see the result of that. The Cochrane Habitat in Ontario is the world's only nonprofit organization that provides sanctuary to polar bears in need of human care and who can't live in the wild anymore. They often receive presents for their bears around Polar Bear Awareness Week. How sweet. Okay, well, we've run out of time. That's the end of today's good news. I hope you will be back with us again next week. And hey, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if any of these stories really uplift you in any way, please send us a little note of appreciation. We'd greatly receive it. And you could always send us a donation. We are a charitable organization, and we would love to receive the benefit of your good news in the form of good cash. ntmedia.org if you feel inspired to do that. Well, thank you so much for watching. We're here every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great one. I'm Barbara Jean. Bye for now.